Number two.
Actually, it's a van this time, one that's been a long time coming.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Volkswagen van. I've owned a couple over the years.
Yeah, me too. Actually, one asks the question, does the world really need another van? Well, VW thinks it does, and the answer is the EuroVan.
The new van replaces VW's long-lived Vanagon, which sold nearly 7 million units all over the world. The EuroVan is a complete departure from traditional van designs from Volkswagen, and caused quite a stir when announced in Europe last year. From an extensive range in Europe, we get the 7-passenger version with a camper to come later. Biggest switch from tradition has been for VW to move the engine up front and switch to front-wheel drive. As a styling effort, the EuroVan is almost a dead ringer for a Mazda MPV or GMC Safari. Cover up the VW badge on its nose, and it's hard to tell which of the three this is. Obviously, VW decided not to take any adventurous styling routes like GM with its Lumina APV and various derivatives. Even so, the van has a very slippery shape, and this has beneficial effects on fuel economy and wind noise. It's also quite large and seems to fit somewhere between the smaller minivans and North American full-size units. The big rear door, which has a window wiper, opens high and wide to reveal a huge cargo area. Up front, the powerful headlights have a pair of high-pressure washers to keep them clean in bad weather. Older VW vans were often criticized for being underpowered, and VW has responded by fitting a 2.5-litre 5-cylinder engine offering 110 horsepower at 4,500 RPM. By adopting a front location for the engine, VW has now gotten into line with other van manufacturers. It's a reasonably powerful engine and certainly better than the old van's horizontally opposed 4. On the other hand, it doesn't seem to have the punch of a Chrysler or Mazda V6. Our GL test van was equipped with the optional 4-speed automatic, which works just fine and would be my choice if I bought one of these. Only trouble is shifter location. It just doesn't seem to fall easily to hand, as motoring writers always say. A column shifter would be a much better choice, but Europeans hate these, so we'll have to make do with a rather remote floor unit. From the acceleration standpoint, not too important in a van. You'll hit 100 kilometers per hour in around 14 seconds. Fuel economy runs at 12.4 litres per 100 kilometers for all-around use. VW's warranty is 3 years or 60,000 kilometers. A basic EuroVan costs $21,275, and for the GL, tack on another $2,000 or so. A VW engineer told me that a primary design parameter for this van was to make it feel as much as possible like a Passat sedan, both in performance and comfort. My view is that they've come close to reaching this target. This is a very comfortable van to ride in, and like so many other VW products, it's beautifully trimmed. All seats have folding armrests, and you'll be as comfortable in the third row as you will up front. The instrument panel is just about flawless, and radio and climate controls are well within reach. It's easy to get in and out of too, thanks to low steps for front passengers and those climbing in through the sliding door. Front seat rake adjustment is by a large knob, by far the best method, and the steering wheel is nice to grasp, even if its position is a little bus-like. The center row of seats can be quickly removed for carrying large loads. Also, their backs form tables complete with cup holders, great for picnics. For a change in a van, VW has really gone to town with stowage spaces. There are plenty of useful bins and, in contrast to the earlier model, lots of places to stow pop cans. All passengers get headrest, a good safety item, but the center rear one obscures the back window to some extent. Some might say the EuroVan lacks the character of earlier VW vans, but these products were due for a change. On the other hand, VW has entered into an intensely competitive market and will be in tough with lots of rivals. The Chrysler Magic Wagons are obvious competition, and then there are GM Safari and Lumina APV ranges. Also in there are the Ford Aerostar, Mazda MPV and Toyota Previa. Nissan has a van on the way, and even Hyundai is talking vans. Van lovers have never had it so good.
Well, I give this one a driving dollar value of 7/8 of a tank. I really like it, Ted.
I like it too, and I want to mention that I've been a big fan of the rear-engine van for all these years. I've owned a couple, as I mentioned. I've always really liked it. I still can't decide whether or not I like this one. It lacks the charm of the other ones, which may or may not be a good thing. I want to mention that shift lever. That shift lever is so bad, they've had to put a readout on the dash so that you know what gear you're in, because you literally
well, that's
can't
true.
see
It's a bad point, and I think it does stem from the fact that Europeans regard column shifters as something very outdated, something from the 1930s and so on. The only thing I really quarrel with this van, I love the way it's built, and I own one of the older models, which I think has a lot of character and so forth, the rear engine, it's a great motor and so on. This one does address all the faults that that van had. The slight lack of power on long hills and so forth. It's a little bit more roomy, it's got a lot more storage space because there's no engine in the back, of course.
But it's still not a powerhouse. I found it to be quite sluggish. I think they need a bigger engine here, something torqueier, because if you load that van down with a lot of people in gear, it's going to struggle. I'll say this for it, it's huge inside. I couldn't believe the size of it.
It is huge. I get the impression, I didn't measure it all up in every detail, but that it's a little bit bigger than some of the existing, what used to be called minivans. Now they're kind of standard vans, really, but it's a little bit bigger. It's quite a large van inside, and it's beautifully built. I would definitely buy one of these vans. I like it that much, I would certainly buy one. The only quarrel I have, it's a little bit expensive. The basic price is a little high.
Yeah, they're going to have to price this very carefully in the North American market, because people are going to look at it and compare it to the domestics. The domestic versions are very, very good. I mean, Chrysler's T-Wagons are as good as they get.
Well,
so
that's true, yeah.
They've got their work cut out for them. I wonder if they're going to make a Westphalia version of that one.
They are. There's a camper version coming, and I've been able to check that out, and so far I don't like it as much as the old camper, but that's a story for another show. But it does lack some of the features of the early one, like the roof.
It's bound to be huge, though. If Volkswagen can do what they do with the current Westphalia, if they can convert that to the new one, it's going to be immense.
Well, they do, and of course, beneath the back seat area, the part where you sleep, there's a huge storage area. Well, of course, you don't get that in the old van because the engine sits in there, and it has lots and lots of room.
One other minor point that I would bring up is I question whether this should be front drive. I feel that a van this big should really be rear drive.
Well, it's good in the snow. Okay, let's sum up here. Like the shift lever position, we both agree that was really a no-no, and the price is a little bit high in basic form. Plus, lots of things. It's very roomy, fit and finish, excellent, usual VW stuff. Power, very, very good. Instrument panel and model for other van makers. Driving dollar value, I'll give this one 7/8 of tank. It's only the price that keeps one from a full tank, Ted.
Yeah, the price and the shift lever. We'll be right back.
Okay, now time